everybody. It's your girl T
Hey.
Marie, and it is a special edition of Live with T and Q. But you only got the T, no Q. And you know why? Because I didn't need him sitting in on this interview, baby. It's all about the ladies today. Happy National, no, International Women's Day and week and month and year this March. And of course, it's all about the woman. It's always all about us anyway. But today, it's going to be special. I have an amazing guest that I know you guys are going to enjoy. Of course, I only have good people. That's
Yeah.
what we do. And so today is no different. You guys clap it up for Janee D. Brown. Hi, Janee. Hello. How are
Hey,
you?
hey, hey, how you doing?
Well, thanks for taking some time out on your tour and sitting with me, baby. I know you on the road. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here. I'm blessed. I'm truly blessed. Today's been a great day. I can't complain at all.
Girl, you better than me. You know we was talking earlier. Today has been that type of day, but we said we're gonna rock with it anyway.
We gonna rock with it.
I'm glad you had a great day. And looks like you've been having a great day, month, year. Like it's all about you doing your thing. So let's talk about it. First of all, let me let you introduce yourself to
Okay.
the viewers.
So, hey, y'all, I am Janee Brown. I am the founder and the CEO of Open Book Publishing that launched in 2019. And now I am a published author. I've published several articles, but now we are publishing a book called Pieces of a Woman. You get your pre sale copy now for Amazon.
Okay. First of all, congratulations. That
Thank
is
you.
big stuff. Black woman with her own publishing company.
Yes.
First of all, black woman, period. Own publishing company, period. Publishing
Yeah.
other people, period. Publishing herself, period. Okay? I mean, too many periods not to follow up on what is not dope about you. Let's talk about the book.
Okay. So, Pieces of a Woman is a short story collection of womanhood stories. And it came about because I've had a lot of conversations with authors who just so happen to be women who felt like they were being pushed back. They experienced a lot of pushback because the publisher wanted their stories to change to fit mainstream or change because they didn't consider it to be truth. I spoke with a lot of women who were not authors, but just had like issues in life where they felt like they were not being heard. They felt like their voices were not being considered, or their experiences and their stories were not considered to be truth because it had a different perspective than what was typical, what was considered appropriate, or what was considered normal. And so I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, we could have an experience that does not have to negate your experience, and you should listen to that. You should consider our truth. And that doesn't change the fact that your truth still happened. I think it's important for us to start allowing for people to share their stories freely. And so when I didn't see it, I created it. And here is Piece of a Woman.
And I love this. Pieces just kind of indicates parts, and there's
Yeah.
parts of us that's only getting told, there's parts of us that's only being shown. Why the title?
So Pieces of a Woman came about because, women got a lot of, we complex,
Yeah,
it's a
a
lot of
little bit.
parts of us. It's a lot of parts of us, but also beyond us being multi-layered, there's a lot of us that unify us. There's a lot of things that unify us. And though we are different, that's because of our personality. But ultimately, a woman is a woman is a woman. Our personality is what differentiates us. And so it's also called Pieces of a Woman because I wanted to show that when we come together, what we can do when we unite, because we're the same person wanting the same thing, and that's forward movement. So pieces have like multiple meanings where we're talking about the complexities of womanhood, but we're also talking about how together we're just one woman.
Talk about the typical stereotypes that happen to black women often, and how to overcome those challenges, especially when it's talking about when we're passionate, we're considered aggressive. When we want status, we're considered being choosy. Like, let's talk about those things. And are those topics that are in the book?
Yes. So For me, honestly, I feel like that you cannot take your stance and your position on someone who is not you, someone who hasn't walked in your shoes. I don't think that people have the right to define you if you've already done so. So as far as like that pushback and those comments, I think that you should come back them with your character. Like I believe that you can prove people wrong by being authentic to you. So that's first. And then in the book, it has a lot of stories of that. It has a lot of stories of women stepping into their own and finding their place and not apologizing for that and seeing benefit from that, seeing that they had better and healthier relationships with their spouses, or seeing that they had better outcomes in their business because they dared to be them. And if you didn't like it, that was a you thing and not a them thing. Absolutely.
Love that, because a lot of times we have a tendency to pull back who we really are because we're afraid of how it's going to come off, how we're going to
Mm-hmm.
come off, how
Yeah.
we're going to come off as if we are trying to be better or we're trying to have more than we deserve. But we have to understand, as Black women, we do deserve the very best. Do you
Yeah.
talk about that in the story? How women have, how we as Black women have, not just women, but Black women have shortcome ourselves because of what somebody else thinks?
I actually talk about that in my story, actually, because I felt like I belonged here, and that was it. Like I had to know my place, yeah, and I learned that my place is where I park. And I had to come out of that. And I think for Janee personally, having that mindset of needing to know your place is what fueled my imposter syndrome. And so to free myself, I had to say, like, you belong at every table that you sit at. And every no is just the opportunity for you to create a yes. And if I didn't have that switch, there would be no Pieces of a Woman. There would be no open book publishing. So my chapter of the book actually talks about that.
Let's hear the backstory. First of all, I love that imposter syndrome. That's pretty. That's
Yes.
pretty good. I like that a lot. Let's talk about the backstory of your part in this book, and where does that come from?
So for me, my chapter is on women in business. And really, for me as a businesswoman, I feel like that was me becoming an entrepreneur. For Janee, is what was the pressure that made me gold. It was the burning and the heat and the pressure that was pressed upon me that made me who I am. It was my becoming story. Shouts out to Michelle Obama. Like I didn't know. I thought I was very self aware and I thought I knew who I was until I became a business owner. I learned that I had money issues. I learned that I had trust issues. I learned that I had authority issues. I learned that I had integrity issues. And I would have never thought that because there was nothing happening in my life to make me look in the mirror and see those things. Maybe see some other things, but not those things. And it wasn't until I became a businesswoman that I once saw it because it was infiltrating into the way I was running my business. And I also learned when it comes to that imposter syndrome to be authentic because everything I do comes from me. I am the nucleus, I am the common denominator in everything that I do. So I'm the type of businesswoman that I am, the type of wife I'm going to be, the type of mother I'm going to be, the type of sister I am, the type of daughter I am. Janee is the common denominator. So Janee is continuing to be a character that she feels like that she's supposed to be because she doesn't think she belongs to be over here is going to show up. Yeah. And so I had that like light bulb switched when I was looking in the mirror like, girl, this not going to work. Either this not gonna work or you're good like or your business not gonna happen. But
Right.
something got to change. And
So it
so
was
here
the
we are.
accountability part that I love that you speak about right now, because that's the biggest part. I love that the imposter part of it. How much do you think social media plays in that? And second question after that, the accountability part of getting over that and becoming somebody that you know you need to be. Let's talk about those things.
So I think I'm certain that imposter syndrome plays a huge role on imposter syndrome for almost everybody. But for me, my imposter syndrome came from my upbringing, I think. I was very empowered as a child, but I was always told I had to be better than my cousin. because she was older and she was told that she had to be better than that cousin. So we were always in competition with someone who came before us, and we would watch them and try to learn what they did wrong and try to become the opposite instead of be trying to become the best us. So I was spending more time trying to become the opposite of my cousins or my sisters or my cousins' shortcomings that I never spent any time trying to become me. I didn't know that that was relevant or necessary. So social media, I'm sure, played a part in it 100% because I was like, Janae's 60 pounds overweight. You know what I mean? Like, Janae is this and Janae is that. But for me, I think imposter syndrome probably started at a very young age because I came from a family that was very big on excellence and very big on education. And so they pushed us to be great because my mother knew that I was a Black woman and my father knew that I was a Black woman. But I think there was so much emphasis on being better than this person than just being the best you. And they were doing what they were taught and what they thought to be best. And um there's no friction about how I was parented. But when I reflect, I know that there's things that were put in me as lessons that maybe if I was taught a different lesson when I was at the age of trying to start a business, I would have had a different mindset. But it made me the person I am now, right? So I went through those things and I became this person that now has pieces of a woman. But if it wasn't for that, it probably wouldn't be here. So as much as I am grateful, I understand had I had a different upbringing, it might have been a little different.
How do you recognize it? How did you recognize that you were being an imposter? How did you know that?
Because I kept saying I couldn't. Like that was my answer to everything. I can't do that, or I'm not. I learned it when I went to a publishing retreat in Miami. Shouts out to Dade County, that's where I'm from. I went to a 3-day publishing retreat, and I looked at the facilitator show her prices. And then I went home and I made my product list and I said, I can't charge that because I don't deserve that, because I haven't done all the things that she's done. And immediately in my mind, it was like I had to accomplish 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 before I can charge this. Because I didn't think that I had the right to. And it was never about if I had the education, if I had the skill to. My mind was like, you don't have the right to do it because you're not her. And that's when I realized you have imposter syndrome because you're comparing yourself, your business, the people who's been in the game for 20 years. Of course, you don't have what she has, Janee. You just got here, but you should still charge for your work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's this is a great segue into the entrepreneurship and how you got there. Everybody wants to be now an entrepreneur, right? Because we're tired of working for somebody else. We're tired of working for the pennies. We're tired of clocking in on somebody's job. There's several reasons why we want to. But at the same time, we're looking, like we said, at other people, wondering if we're qualified, wondering if that's what we're supposed to do. So can we talk about in the game of entrepreneurship, how to find out where you are, what your niche is, what you're good at, and why you can charge what you charge?
I think that you can charge whatever you want to charge because your name is on it. Like simple and plain is yours. So you can do what you want to do with it, in the words of the Isley brothers, right? But you have to deliver. If you like Louis Vuitton charges the price that they charge because it's Louis Vuitton and Louis Vuitton has the best quality of fabrics and designs and stitching and all these things. Louis Vuitton put out a press release one day and said our prices are going up, and the next day the prices were inflated to a whole nother level, and they still have their same customer base because they also deliver. But they can do what they want to do because they own the company. And so I feel like when it comes to being an entrepreneur and setting your prices, I feel like that you should first make sure that you're offering a product a product and or service that you can maintain the influx. And so, and that you identify if I'm going to sell mass amounts at a small price or big amounts and have a minimum amount of customers. So, like if you're trying to mass produce, if you have something that's $20, I can just sell this 500,000 times, and that's my goal. But if your goal is to just work with a handful of people or a small amount of inventory, inventory, you might say, I'm going to charge $1,500, but I'm only trying to get about 20 in a month. So I think that you should be strategic based upon what are your financial goals for your company for that year, for that quarter, for that month, and create your product suite based upon that. And then put your pricing based upon how much work it takes to do, the overhead, right? If you need software, if you need materials, if you need inventory, if you need to outsource, have all of that in there. And then how much money does it take to pay you? Because you work for your company, and then use that formula to create how you price your services and or products.
So your publishing company
Yes.
is doing amazing. Is you're doing great things with it. When did you know that you would want to create this publishing company? Like you did you just stop your job? Did you create your, did you take your job and use it to fund your dream? Let's
I
talk
did.
about that a little bit.
So I knew that I wanted to be a publisher in the third grade. I was told rather that I was going to be a publisher. I did a career fair in school, and then you had to create your a share what you wanted to be. And I was like, I want to be a novelist, and I thought I was hot stuff. Talking about, I want to be a novelist, and I came home. My dad was like, no, you're not. It was just that simple. He was like, if you're going to write, you're going to own. So you're going to be a publisher. And at bare minimum, you're going to be a self published author. And then I started having these dreams about like writing on the beach and then pressing a button and a book magically appeared as a child. Life happened. I grew up and I forgot about that, like completely forgot about that. I fell on hard times and I did a prayer fast and I did the whole ugly cry on like day 59 and was like, God, what do I do? And I had the same dream, the exact same dream that I had when I was in elementary school. And so I woke up and I was like, this is what I need to do. This is my calling. And before I started Open Book Publishing, I started freelance editing. And then those initial clients was like, Janee, can you just publish the book? Can we just figure this out? And I was like, well, it must be time for me to just go for it. And I filed the paperwork, and here we are today.
And other authors, including yourself,
Yeah,
Pieces of a
amazing.
Woman. I mean, you have to be very proud and very excited about what the next step is. So, what is the next step that follows with Pieces of a Woman?
Volume two. It's so
Already.
funny. It's so funny. Everyone has been asking me that all day. Like, what is after volume one, volume two, and three, and four, and five? But we
Correct.
have a lot in store for Pieces of a Woman. My vision is that it just doesn't stay a book, that it becomes a platform for
Mm-hmm.
women to share their voices. So, like, I want a Piece of a Woman collection with an apparel company. I want Pieces of a Woman, the show. I want Pieces of a Woman, the movie. Like, I want for a Piece of a Woman to be a platform for women to be able to communicate. Because for me, I just feel like there's a lot of untold stories because we don't tell them. So I want to create a space for those stories to happen naturally, and that those stories are welcome in every format. So that's the long term vision for POW. You're
Abilities
muted.
too.
Uh
Those
huh.
are those are definitely possibilities. I mean, you're not even talking about anything that is out that's extra. You know what I'm talking about? You're not talking about anything that's going to be hard. Those are right there for you to do. You created the platform, and now all you do is extend from that platform.
Yeah. I
So
just
what?
want women.
Go ahead. No,
Mhm.
no, no.
I just want women to be able to eat. Like, I want women
That's
to be
it. I love it.
able to be put on. So like, even like as far as like our book covers, and the book cover, I want to pick a artist each year to do it. Like, I just want to create opportunity for women and make it normal to share our voices. So Piece of Woman's gonna help me do that.
Some authors and some people who are ready to write, who've been looking for a platform to write. And heck, me too. I've got one book,
Come
and there's
on.
some extensions that I want to do from that book. I have a book called No More Boyfriends, and
Okay.
there's some things I want to do from that. So I'm interested in us collaborating and talking about that as well.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
there's plenty of people who are looking for a safe place to write.
Hmm.
And that brings me back to I'm gonna ask. I have two questions. I have one I want to ask, but this is one I needed to ask because publishing, black publishing, not just not black publishing, but everybody is a publisher, right?
Sure.
So quote unquote. And I've heard many people get burned by
Mm,
publishing companies.
yeah.
What do they need to be looking for as an author or as a wanting to be an author in a publishing company?
I know a person who was burned because there was no contract. Like just that simple. Like you should look for a publishing company that has their standard operating procedures together. They have things in alignment where you could review and understand what is holding you accountable and the publishing company accountable alike, and what are the penalties for that, what are the cancellations for that. Contracts matter, not just for a company, whatever company it is, but also for you. You don't get a house without a contract. You can't get a lease without a contract. You can't get a car without a contract. You pretty much can't go to church without signing something that you a member. You know what I mean? Like we need paperwork. Okay. That's number one. Secondly, is to understand when it comes to royalties and intellectual property, who owns what you're going to do, and how are they going to help you to be able to recoup money, because this is still a business. Like if you want to do a passion project, that's great, but if you're going to publish a book that takes work, time, and money to do, you should want more of an outcome and a result than just, oh, I did my passion project. Yeah. So you need to be looking at what's on the contract. And if there is no contract, you need to look elsewhere.
Big go, big go.
Elsewhere.
Well, with Pieces of a Woman, what's some of your favorite stories? What's some of the, I know you can't say which one, but I'm sure because here you go. They're all your favorites, right? They're all your favorites. But what's some of the standout stories that you think people would want to be looking for outside of yours, of course?
So there's one story. Should I do names? Their names are on the website. There's one story, and it's pretty much about a woman who is the product of a divorced home. And she talks about her experience that's very different than what her brother experienced, and how these different thought processes and these different parenting styles and code switching back and forth is what has created the highs and the lows of her being a woman. There's another story about a woman with cancer, and she surprised me, completely rocked my world, because she was saying how the cancer is not what almost killed her. It was the mindset of recovery, and how she battled being a person while overcoming and going through the process of chemotherapy. There's another story about a woman who was raised the right way and did the wrong thing and became a mother very early in life, and how she never wanted to be that person, but she became that person. And now that child is the fuel to everything that she is now. So there's some very like interesting spins on things, because now you hear it from the perspective of a woman. So I think it's some pretty cool story.
I watch how you smile. I watch how you passionately talk about these stories in this book. I watch how it gives you joy to be able to share these stories. Am I correct when I'm diagnosing that or telling you about that? Like, how does that make you feel to be able to tell our stories?
I love it. Like I'm humbled by it, honestly. Like I don't take it lightly. I feel like God could have given the vision to anybody, and he chose me for a reason. So I treat it with care. I'm very protective of the project. I'm very before God about it a lot, about what we should do and what we should not do, because I know that he could have given this to anybody else. And these are also very personal stories from these women who are now finally having a way to get it out, and then they're getting it out in a very public way. Yeah. And so I don't take that lightly either. I think it's very sensitive, but also something worth celebrating, because I feel like we're on the brink of something big, right? Like if this story hasn't been out for a very long time and no one has seen it, imagine how much it's going to impact the world in a major way. Imagine how it's going to shift culture now that we have new thought and perspective. So as much as I am protective of it, if you will, I'm also like, get it out, let's see it. So it's like a combination.
And this in this time where so much mental health is what we're dealing with, because not only the pandemic, but look now with the wars, the gas prices, prices of everything, like so many things are going on at the same time that we've had to look at ourselves and try to not think ourselves crazy and hope that we're not feeling, overwhelmed. These stories are great stories for people to be able to relate to, do you think?
For sure. I think a lot of the stories in the book are untold. I think that women have a tendency to become who is accepted. They have a tendency to say what is the right thing. I think because we've been programmed to be perfect, and we've been programmed that we have to fit into this mold to be considered a woman of integrity or a wife or a mother. This is what a mother's supposed to be able to do. And she's supposed to love being a mother. She's supposed to never have moments when she wants to throw the kids away, right? And now, and even that, I feel like it's known or considered, but to like hear it to the T, like what's really going on in her head, I don't think people really consider that. And so that's what you'll get in the book. I'm very excited for it.
Love it. I love it. I love your energy. I love everything about it. And I can't talk about us as women enough. I want to
Yeah.
talk about, though, what's strong about women that's cool and what's
Mhm.
strong about women that's not cool, because we have to be strong. We have to be strong. We have to be strong. And at the same time, being strong can sometimes take away our feminine energy. So what's good about us being strong, and what's bad about us being strong?
I think is the answer for me is the same thing, and it's our mouth. Like
Look,
that's
ooh,
my personal
ooh,
opinion. Like I really think that like I come from a very churchy family, yeah. And so like we believe that like the man is like the priest of the house, but I believe the woman is the prophet. I believe that like you can speak life into your children, you can speak life into your household, you can speak life into your husband, you can speak life into you. But I also think that with that same tool, you can tear that marriage down, you can tear that house down. Like when we speak, there is power. And it really comes down to what are you going to use your power for? I feel like that when we speak, we can shift the atmosphere, we can shift the energy in the room. Like when I show up, everything gets on the pace of Janee. Everything. Because that's the energy that I have. But what if my pace was toxic? Yeah. You know,
yeah.
what if my pace was combative or confusion? With all that power that I stand in, I could really mess some stuff up. Or I could really make some stuff the dopest thing in the world. So for me, it's our mouth.
Ooh, I like that. That's real good. That is
Yeah.
really, really good. I think I'm gonna talk about that, our mouth. I think on my next conversation when I'm talking to in the relationships, I'm gonna talk about the power of the tongue
Yes,
and what
ma'am.
it can and cannot do, and what it will and will. It's a powerful weapon. I mean, the Lord spoke about it in the Word, so you gotta know it's
Look,
not a
that
game.
that tongue is more lethal than a bullet, and I don't care who you ask.
Right. Well, seeing that I'm a dating coach, do you talk anything about relationships is in this volume one?
In volume one, it's more relationships about self. Not a lot of relationships about like marriage or dating. It's not much about that. I dab into it a little bit when I'm talking about how I became a publisher and the things that I was going through that led me into doing a 60-day prayer fast, but there's not a lot of dating. It's a lot of conversations about women finding themselves in different spaces. And oddly, it wasn't in dating. I didn't realize that till just now because that's so typical
Yes.
usually. But yeah, not much. But we do talk. People do include like their relationships with their husbands or their relationship with their spouses, but that is not the focus, if you will, of that story. That's so interesting.
No, let me tell you why that's so. But let me tell you why that's so interesting.
Hmm.
Because if you're not good, and I talk about this and I teach this, you're not good for anybody else until you're good with yourself anyway.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
the first step needs to be about you.
Hmm.
Everything about you needs to be clear to you
Yeah.
before you start pursuing a relationship with anybody else.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
so that's a very important first step with it being about self. So that's good. I could see that, which means the next one I'm going to be in, because then we're going to talk about how to relate to other people.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Y'all heard it. She's gonna be in
Okay.
volume two. Y'all heard it.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, but until you can, we don't understand how important we are to
Hmm.
anything that's going on around us and anything that we're involved in. And how us first, self first, has to be
It has,
okay.
it has to be. And I think I'm so glad that you, as a dating coach, say that
Yeah.
because I think women are defined by who they are to other. So we never even consider who we are to ourselves or who ourselves are, is, whatever. Like for a very long time, like even me, when it wasn't even about dating, it was about just my value, my worth was defined by how much better I did in school than a cousin or a sibling. It was never about Janee being a good Janee or what that looks like, or Janee being Janee. Who is that? She was such and such's daughter, such and such's sister, such and such's friend. She was never just Janee. And I think that that's so it's problematic because if you are only defined by who you are to other, if you don't have other, then what is your value? Like if you're not a wife, if you're not a mother, if you're not a business owner, if you're not a this or that to other people, does that mean that you're useless? Does that mean that you're worthless? But like that's part of the reason why there are women who feel like they have no value because they don't have a child, or they feel like something's wrong with them because they don't have a husband and they just want somebody to choose them. Like my favorite line, I don't know if you watch Bridgerton on Netflix, when it was you have to watch it. It
Okay.
was so
Okay.
so good. But she said this one line. She said, she told her brother, you don't understand that my whole life is reduced to one single moment. One single moment. She's going through this whole thing of trying to be married and coming out in the 1500s, and her brother was interfering with all those suitors that she liked. And she was like, if you keep cutting everybody off, I'm not going to get married. And he was just like, so what? And she was like, you're not me. My whole life is reduced to this one single moment. Someone picking me. Nothing about her matters except for if someone chooses her. As if someone doesn't choose her, she has no value. Something is wrong with her because no one chose her. She must be damaged goods. And there's only a window of time when she is even an option. And that's so problematic.
And it's so put in our face like that, as
Mhm.
if there's nothing of value in your singleness. And people have to understand that's your most valuable time, because
Yes, ma'am.
that's when you get to be the most you, the most authentic you, and you get to realize who you are. So when it is time that you decide you want to mate, you get the correct mate. You don't get the mate that you heard should be good for you, or somebody told you should be good for you, or what the world is saying that's good for you. But you get who you know suits who you found out who you truly are, and nothing or nobody else's opinion matters. And you
Yes,
get
ma'am.
the person that fits you, if
Yeah.
that's what you want to do.
If
But
that's what you want.
singleness is an amazing time in your life if you do the right things with it, and if you understand that it does not devalue you not to have somebody. It actually adds value to you to find out who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
we make it the wrong, we get it taken the wrong way because everybody thinks you should be with somebody. If that's what you want to do and that's what you know is good for you, that's great. But even then you need to create who you are, or know who you are, not create, know who you are. So when it is that time, you're absolutely choosing correctly.
And I think that's so important because I was the girl who didn't have that mindset at all. I was the girl who was like went to college to get an MRS degree, and I was in relationships and really couldn't add any value to them because all I was concerned about was what does he want and just being that. Like I didn't have anything to contribute as far as what are hobbies you like to do? What are places that you've been? I even said like I'm not gonna go out of the country until I get a husband because that's something me and him's gonna do. I'm not gonna buy a house because that's something me and my husband's gonna do. But like it's so limiting because it's almost like becoming the puppet from Coming to America. Like you have nothing to add to him. You have nothing to add to this relationship. Like you literally are like a dog, like just performing for this person. And I think the mindset for me at least, it came from this idea of like, I need to be pickable. I need to be choosable. And so therefore, whatever he wants, I'm just gonna do that. And it got me like, I don't know a man who was really attracted to that. Like at least not in Miami. I didn't. That didn't really work. And I got more guys to become attracted to me when I was doing my own thing because I had something to talk about. I had something to offer. And it wasn't a competition between what I'm doing versus what he's doing, but it's just like conversation. Like I wasn't even exposed to anything to talk about outside. It's like, what do you want for dinner? You know what I mean? Like,
Right. That that
like that is just it makes for a boring relationship. And I feel
it
like a
does.
lot of people who talk about needing to find the spice in their life, I feel like because your life have been very much revolved around this like one singular thing, and y'all need some hobbies. Get away from each other a little bit, like see the world.
Baby, right? You need to live. Period.
Yeah.
You need to live. And it's the cliche is, you need to find, you have to find somebody. No, you really have to find yourself. And the other part is women have been taught to be chosen, right? It's You're
Mhm.
supposed to be chosen. But what we forget in that part is we're also supposed to be choosing. See, it's
Yeah.
not one sided, and we have created, society has created, the books have created, whatever has created, and even biblically has
Yeah.
created that we're supposed to be chosen, right?
Mhm.
And to a degree, I do agree, but you're also choosing who you allow to choose you.
Yes, ma'am.
And so you
Absolutely.
have to set that up for yourself, which means you have to be okay with him.
Him too. Like this is not a like it's submission is not about you being whatever he wants and there's supposed to be nothing that you want that he is satisfying to. That's not a relationship. Like we are serving each other. We are adding to each other. This is not a one-way thing where he is king and you're supposed to just be feeding him grapes and asking him what type of grapes that he wants. Like that is not a relationship. And nobody, I can't speak for the world, but I don't know people who really, really want that because that gets old. Like it gets old. There has like you can't do that for 30 years because neither one of you are going to grow. And I'm a firm believer, especially that in marriage, that is ministry. And that this person's supposed to be about the business of making you a better person. And if you don't have any experience of your own to be able to identify things or help cultivate this person grow, you're not adding value to them just by feeding them grapes, sis.
As what we don't understand, it is truly a partnership.
Yeah.
It's truly a partnership. People have roles, and whatever those roles are in a partnership is whatever that is, but it is a partnership. And when you get that understood, because when we talk about submission,
Mm,
we think of that as a bad word. All
yeah.
submission is understanding what that you trust your mate to make a decision for both of you. And
Yeah.
that mate can't make a decision without considering you. So you shouldn't be scared to submit to the right person because you know that person is considering you when they're making the decision. So they're making a decision for you based on you for
Yeah,
the whole team. And
absolutely.
once we realize who to be submissive to, and that it goes both ways.
It goes both ways.
It
I
goes
also
both
think
ways.
it's so freeing too. Like imagine trusting somebody with your life. You know what I mean? Like imagine trusting someone to the point where you don't have to carry everything on your shoulders. You don't have to make all the decisions. The success of everything happening around you is not solely on you. When you have a partner in anything, like even if it's not marriage, it helps you to move the needle forward quickly and more effectively and with a lot more ease. And so I feel like a life partner is like the best thing that you can get. Someone who's going to do this with you. It's so freeing. Like as a single woman, I'd be exhausted all the time. Like I got to do this, and take out the garbage. God dang.
Baby, listen, it is, I always tell people, baby, that independent stuff is overrated.
It is
Okay?
not
It's
cute. Like,
overrated. I don't give a darn about it. I want help all the time. Could you come and get
come
this for me,
on.
please? Please.
Come on. I
And
was
that's the
texting.
no,
Uh,
that was saying that's the best thing about it. Having somebody like you said, being free, like, oh, I don't have to do all this by myself. Thank you, Lord. Can you take this cape off? Thanks and
yes.
thank you.
And he appreciates that too.
Yeah,
Like he
yeah.
appreciates the fact that like I could bounce ideas with someone else and it's safe. He appreciates that like you did do this so he didn't have to the same way that you do, because being single for anybody is hard to do because you're trying to be the best you and be the best at all of these things, live life, do this. It's a lot. It's a lot. And so community is beneficial to anybody. And if community includes a partner, if community includes a best friend, if community includes a sibling or a parent or whatsoever, we need community. And if you get a community that is a lifetime partner, that's a beautiful thing. If you add that
Is
to
the
your
business. Yes, community is the
Mhm.
business. We need each other. We were created to be together, to use it, to be together and bounce off each other and help and take care of each other. We weren't even created to be by ourselves. I say that all the
Mhm.
time. And so even when
Yeah.
you're single, I tell people, even when you're single, find your community.
Yes,
Find you
ma'am.
some people. Have you some friends to hang out with. Have a life to do, because that's when you start getting desperate when you don't,
Mhm.
because you just
Mhm.
want somebody to be in your
Something.
space to share something with. You don't give a goddamn what that something is, as long as somebody is there.
Yeah, we need connection.
Yeah.
Like we need human touch, as Kim will say.
Yep.
And you should get that from wherever,
Yep.
and like community, it's helpful to your point earlier about mental health. It's necessary.
Yep. Hugs. Hugs are so good. People don't understand how amazing a hug is at the end of the day, or when you
Mhm.
get up with your girlfriends, or when a hug is so amazing. We have to
Mhm.
remember to touch each other, and that's why sometimes I think the social media and the us having to talk over, video, whatever, takes away from the genuine
Mhm.
connection, because that energy that we have here could be more, just be crazy if we were in the same room together,
A
because
hundred
we're
percent.
bouncing the energy off of one another. So we have to get back to that. And that's what I'm hoping that what's letting up on this pandemic, that we start coming back together. We have created so much separatism during the pandemic because we had to, that now
Yeah.
we're using it because we want to, and it's easy
Mhm.
to, and it's convenient to. And so I'm
Yeah.
hoping that we'll start coming back together again over the summer and start just being around each other again. That's
Being
what I'm looking
human
forward to.
and not robotic.
Yes, because it could be robotic. Girl, I can sit here and talk all day because that's what I do. I talk. But I want to congratulate you on Pieces of a Woman.
Thank
I want to congratulate you on your publishing company. And I really do hope that we can hook up really soon and have some
Absolutely.
conversations. And this
Absolutely.
will not be our last conversation. I have many platforms that we can continue to talk. Uh, I have a community called No More Boyfriends. It's a dating community.
Okay.
And with this, like I said, the being focusing on yourself is one of the biggest parts of it. So let's talk about the book. We see where you can get it. Let's talk
Yeah.
about pre-sales. Let's talk about getting all these books and getting all these people to buy these books right now.
Yes, yes, yes. So right now, starting March 8th on International Women's Day, we kicked off our pre-sale launch. So you can head over to Amazon and you can get your pre-sale ebook copy of Pieces of a Woman. And right there, just go to Amazon, click on books, type in Piece of Woman, and voila, there you go. There you have it. You can also go to www.obpublishing.com/POW. You can learn about our collaborators. If you follow us on social media, OB_publishing, and you can also follow me at Miss Janee B, which is MSJANEEB, and follow us, and you'll get all of our updates on things that we have going on. When you go to our website, you will also have the opportunity to opt into our email list so that you will be able to get special prizes for things, and then also follow our social media to make sure that you are on top of everything happening at Open Book Publishing. I guess that's
I'm
it.
so excited. Thank you for joining the platform. Thank you for
Thank
coming
you
and
for
sitting with us. I'm
having me.
excited about everything you do. I want to make sure people get this book. I'm going to make sure we promote this book. I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
get me a couple copies of it myself. I'm gonna
Thank
gift this
you.
book to
Thank
some
you.
people because I cannot not support you as a Black woman. First of all,
Yes,
as my
ma'am.
sister already, period, and as a business
Period.
owner, this is how we have to take care of each other. So I
Thank
can't
you.
expect you to support me if I'm not going to support you. It goes
Yes,
both
ma'am.
ways, and I'm
Absolutely.
here for it, ma'am. I am here for
Thank
it.
you. And you let me know if you need me for anything. If you want to bring me back, if you need me on another show, I got you. Just give me a call.
Oh, we're gonna do that thing, baby. We're gonna do
Yes,
that thing.
ma'am.
You guys, clap it up, Janee. Thank you so much. Again, let's give
Thank
them all your
you.
followings, what they can do one more time, where they can follow you, website, and all that stuff.
Okay, so you can follow me on all platforms at Miss Janee B. That is MSJANEEB as in Brown. You can also follow Open Book Publishing everywhere as OB_publishing. And then you can visit our website, www.obpublishing.com, to learn all the things that we have offering for readers as well as for aspiring authors. And most importantly, you should head over to Amazon to get your pre-sale ebook copy of Pieces of a Woman. Head over to Amazon, click on books, and type in Pieces of a Woman and get your ebook copy today.
Janee, this has been my pleasure. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you for
joining us.
having
Look
me.
forward again to the conversation. Enjoy your visit here. I hope you get the most and the best out of everything while you're here in Atlanta.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I truly appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. We'll see you next time.
Yes, ma'am.
Y'all give it up for Janee. That was such a great conversation. So look, we have to celebrate women. We have to celebrate each other. We have to support each other. So make sure you go over to Amazon to get the book. Pieces of a Woman, $14.99. Pre-sales right now. Get it. Get two. Get three. Share it with some friends. Do a book club. Go ahead and support her and all the things that she's doing. Also, if you are an aspiring author, thinking about being an author, go over to her website and check that out as well. I'm sure that she has some great information for you. Open Book Publishing. Get started. Pick the pen up. If not pick the pen up, start with the idea, but go ahead and write that book and let Janee help you get started, or at least direct you on how to get started on being an author and telling your story today. So thank you so much for this special edition of Live with T and Q with no Q because it's just me, T. You'll be able to see this. I'm going to share this all over the place. Thank you again for to On Fire Television for always having our back when it comes to content. You can also go to On Fire Television and check out all the content. They are amazing. It's great stuff there. So make sure you guys go follow. I am choking. Follow the YouTube page of T Marie and Q, Live with T and Q. You know I forget. And get ready because I have a podcast that's coming really, really soon called What's Love Got to Do with It. I can't wait to talk about that. And it's just so much. But enjoy International Women's Day, week, month. Go let a woman know how much you love her, how much you care about her, how important she is, not just in a romantic way, but just being a powerful being in your life because women are solid. And I'm telling you, without us, I ain't gonna lie, y'all, you could be nothing. The world would be horrible without the pieces of a woman. I love you guys. Until next time, stay locked. Oh yeah, share my stuff, Dwayne. Hey, I always forget to talk about me. Tasty wines, you guys. If you have not got it, tasty wines, tasty Moscato, tasty red blend, the Merlot blend. It is amazing. Allthingsbeautiful.net. Order your bottle today. And you'll be pre-ordering because I'm about to be out of the red and have a few more of the white. But order now because I'm telling you, it is selling like hot and cakes. All right. Thank you again, DJ Diamond K. Thank you so much on Fire Television. Follow me, your girl T Marie, and all the things we have going on. I love you guys. Till next time. Happy International Women's Day. See you next time.